Hello friends, who is ready for fall weather and fall decor? This girl. Today I have a video full of previous fall DIYs I've done just in case you missed them. Enjoy this video. Let's get crafting. We're going to start out with these two signs that I got at Dollar Tree back when they had, well, I guess they still have the nautical stuff out, but anyway, I'm going to attach these two signs with some large craft sticks and some hot glue, and it made it really sturdy. I did one big one in the middle, and then I cut one in half and put them, if this one is vertical, I did them horizontal. I don't know which way you want to call it depending on which way the sign goes. Anyway, I did one up and down and then those sideways. And then I went ahead and did two long ones long ways. I had cut off the round ends so that they would fit. So there we go, did that. Finished that, and then I took the brown, just that brown wrapping paper from Dollar Tree and finished off the back to make it look finished. And just used some stick glue, some school stick glue, and put it down real good on the back. This stuff works great to do that. And so just put a good healthy amount on the back and smooth it down. Then I flipped it over, and I'm taking some Dollar Tree spackling and this little spatula I also got at Dollar Tree, and just filled in all the gaps, all the holes, and then sanded it. I don't think I showed you that I sanded it, but I sanded it down and then trimmed off all that excess paper with my X-Acto knife. And then I just mixed up this color to get the color that I wanted for my background. And I'm not even really caring if I get it super a good coat on there. It's okay if it's not covered real good, not good coverage, but it looks pretty good. Okay, here goes the broom. This was so cool what Caitlin did. She was showing a lot of things that you could use that were different to craft with. And so I really wish that my paint had been a little bit thinner, but this chalk paint had, you know, when it dries out a little bit, it gets pretty thick. I should have watered it down a little bit, I think. I really haven't used that broom yet. It looked like I had used the broom, but I really haven't used that broom. But anyway, she painted her paint onto the broom and used it as a brush to distress or give that wood grain look on a larger piece, so you could just do it all at once. And I thought it was a great idea, and so I tried to do it, and it really worked out good. It just took me a little while to get the hang of it. I liked how it gave that, where the board wasn't completely smooth, it gave that little you know, look. And then I went in with my little sponge brush and got the edges a little darker and put some little darker streaks through there and kind of made it look a little bit like planks. And I really love the technique. And so thank you, Caitlin, for the suggestion. She is really, really smart and has lots of great creative ideas. Now in this challenge, we are supposed to recreate some projects from people that we watch and we like their ideas and make it our own. So this is not the project that she created, but she used that technique in her project, and I wanted to try that technique, and so I really did like it. So here I just cut out a stencil on my Cricut that says welcome, welcome, welcome. And so I put it on my sign, and then I'm just putting a coat of Mod Podge over the stencil so that my paint doesn't bleed. And once that's dry, I have this sponge that I got at Dollar Tree, and I just cut it up into a bunch of pieces, and then I have some paint. You pick the colors of paint that you like when you stencil. These are just the colors I like. Now I had mixed this dark pink for a previous project when I did the stencil on my bookshelf, and I did those roses. You may remember that video. If you didn't, I will link it in the description box below for you. And so I'm just going to do the top welcome in this beautiful kind of pinky rosy mauve color. And the second one, this is, I believe it's moss green in folk art, and truffle by Waverly. And I'm just pouncing those colors on with that sponge and it worked great. And these colors all dry really fast. And so I didn't wait till they completely dried, but they did dry pretty fast. And I'm not going to show you me peeling every bit of this vinyl off. This was the stencil vinyl, but I'm not going to show you me peeling every little piece of it off. I ended up getting my tweezers so that I didn't get my hands, the paint on my hands, and then my hands on the board and make a mess of everything. So I used my little tweezers and it turned out really good. Now I have this ribbon that you've probably seen me use over and over and over. I'm still using that same big spool of ribbon I got at Sam's Club, and I'm just going to cut a piece to go across the top. So I'm going to kind of make a little, what do you call it, a little garland, a little swag to go across the top. Now I'm thinking this will be beautiful for fall, but I don't think it's too early to put it out right now. I think it's going to be, it turns out beautiful. So I'm just going to pinch it in the middle. I'm finding the center of my board. I'm going to make a bow, and I just make bows. I don't even know how to explain how I make them. I just make a loop, and then if it's two-sided like this is, which is my favorite kind of ribbon, I just make another loop. I keep pinching it and holding it in my fingers and pinch it, and then wrap twine around the middle of it. And then I did leave that little tail by my thumb long enough that I could flip it around and kind of make a little knot in the middle. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but there are plenty of people out there that do bow tutorials, and maybe one of these days I will do one as well, but you can find plenty of bow tutorials here on YouTube. And so I'm just gluing that down in the middle, and then I'm gonna glue my bow down in the middle, and guess what? I'm gonna do some florals, and I am learning to love to do florals more and more. But I really like these because it's not really florals or greenery, it's a little bit something in between. But I'm gonna glue that bow down and just fluff it. This wired ribbon is so forgiving. You can just fluff and bend and poke and pull and make it how you want it. And thank goodness for editing, because I'm just like when I do hair, I can just play with it all day long. So I'm just gonna poke those little pieces of artificial wheat. All of these little pieces I got at Dollar Tree, and they were the bunches, and I just cut them apart. I don't know if I didn't really show that on camera really good. I showed you that I was cutting the first ones apart, but anyway, I cut them apart, and I think that they're really pretty. The florals at Dollar Tree this fall are really beautiful, and I really love these colors, and I thought they looked good with the paint color choices that I used. So I'm just cutting them and poking them, and honestly not really even thinking too much and not overthinking it, which is what I think I kind of do a little bit too much when I do florals. When I say it all the time in my videos how I really stink at florals, and I don't really like to do greenery and florals because I'm not good at it, but I think it's because I overthink it, and I need to just make it a little more organic and just stick them in there. Anyway, so we're almost through with this little DIY. I'm just gonna, this little sign, I put a hanger on the back, or you can prop it up. I did put it on one of those little picture, where you set a picture in the little, I don't know what you call that little easel. For this first dupe, I knew I wanted to make something similar to these pumpkins, and they were a little high even on Etsy. So I had this styrofoam pumpkin that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I cut the center of that where the little stem was. I cut it out. I painted it white with some white chalk paint. You can see I got it all over my hands because it was messy. I'm in the craft cottage, so I don't have running water out here yet, so I am not able to wash my hands. So just I have, wet wipes, baby wipes, but it doesn't really cut it when you're trying to get paint off your hands. So just bear with me until I get water out here. So I had this bag of leftover macrame yarn from my boho baby shower that I did, and it's just scraps, just scrap pieces that most people probably would have thrown in the trash, but not me. So I am going to use them on this pumpkin. I'm just wrapping them around, and I kind of get a little system going by the end because that's how I do it. but I just start, and I don't even care that they go all the way around because I like it a little ragged. I want it to look a little boho-ish, a little kind of rustic. So here I'm showing you that I'm using a roll of masking tape to sit it on so it doesn't roll around all over me. So by the end, I got to where on that middle piece, so I would put a piece on the indented part, and then on that little pie piece, triangular piece, I would just put a lot of hot glue, and then I would just fill it up right here with those strands. And then I would go down the side and glue them, pressing them into the piece before it. You're going to see what I'm talking about. And I mean, do it however you like to do it, whatever works for you. And then if it doesn't go all the way to the bottom, that's okay, because we're going to fill it in. Excuse me. And so I'll do this one on this side. And then just press it up next to the piece before it. Now, I think I'm going to show you. Okay, so right here where it gets, you know, small, I'm just going to take a piece, and I kind of unraveled some ends because I want a few of those little frayed ends to kind of show. And so where the pieces didn't meet, that's okay. Just stick another piece in there and let that frayed end show a little bit. See how on the ends there it does show? And then I just trimmed it a little bit, and you'll see at the end how I kind of pull it all up so I have some of those little frayed ends kind of showing all over the pumpkin. So I just glue it down, glue it in there. Some of it I didn't want showing, some of it I did. So I'm kind of pulling it all up and then just trimming some of it off, some of it at an angle, leaving a little bit of it because I want it to look a little bit ragged. I don't want it to be smooth like the yarn one. So this may not be a true dupe, but you know, it's one of those kind of sort of a yarn pumpkin. So now I'm kind of getting all those frayed edges out so I can see if I need to trim some of it or if I like it to as frayed as they're gonna look, and that's what I do. So now I'm taking this other twine, white twine or ivory colored twine, I'm wrapping around to see if I like it, and I do. So I'm gonna do it where the indentions would be, just to give it that extra little layer of dimension. And I did wrap it all the way around on this one, so I just did it one time around there, then I found the next place that there should be an indentation and wrapped it all the way around, and I just kept doing that all the way around until I got it all the way around the pumpkin. And this turned, I mean, you can't really see it that much, but you can tell that it's on there. So this is how it looks. See, you can see it on there. I just think it gives it another layer. Okay, so I bought these little round wooden plaques from Hobby Lobby. They came several in a package. They end up being, I'm thinking they were like maybe 75 cents a piece after the 40% off or 50% off sale that I'm sure I got them on because I don't pay full price for anything at Hobby Lobby. And so I'm just taking the Antique Wax by Waverly and giving it just a sloppy coat. And I put a bunch of hot glue right in the middle and just keep squeezing that hot glue out there. Get a bunch, and then I tried to kind of make it run around a little bit, but it was pretty thick. It didn't really want to go anywhere. And yeah, so this DIY ended up, the best I could figure was about $2.25. The pumpkin was $1.25. The little wood round was about 75 cents. The yarn, this little twig, this little branch came out of my yard. I just cut it. I'm going to poke it down there in the center with some hot glue. And these leaves were going to be I mean, they were just off of a pick. So that and the yarn were almost trash. So there we go. There's your. Okay, my next, I'm going to call this my primitive pumpkins. So this cost me nearly nothing to make. So this was part of the swing set / fort that the wind and rain destroyed in our backyard. We had it in the backyard for the kids to play on, the grandkids, and the wind destroyed it, and my husband was going to throw it away, and I said, no, we have to keep that wood. So it's been in our shop, and I've just steadily been using that wood, and so these round pieces were part of the structure. And so I just cut these pieces down, and I'm just giving it, I'm mainly just sanding this down to clean it off a little bit. I'm not even trying to get anything smooth. I'm just cleaning off a little bit of that dirt and grime. And then I'm going to use some more of that branch that I cut off and just glue it right to the top. And I have some Spanish moss and some leaves. And I'm just taking some, this is one of my favorite things to do, that antique wax by Waverly, and just rub it all over these faux leaves from Dollar Tree. And it just kind of stains it up and makes it look a little more real and dirty, like it's been outside. Then I'm going to take the Spanish moss and just glue it around that little stem, our faux stem there, and then just stick a little leaf there. And then I have that little bag of, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself in my description here. Okay, then I just cut that leaf because it was a little bit too big. And so, you know, you get a pack of these leaves for $1.25. And so I'm not even using a whole leaf. So I don't even know, that's just pennies there, a few cents. And then there's this bag of little scented pine cones and pumpkins that I got at Dollar Tree. I'm going to use one little pine cone out of there. That whole bag was $1.25. So I'm just going to use one little pine cone out of there. So whatever that leaf and the pine cone cost me, and that little bit of Spanish moss is what this cost me, just pennies. So I think I made 2 of them, and I think they turned out amazing. Let me know what you think about these DIYs. Okay, next was this little cutting board. So I found this one at Target and in the little, what is it called, the dollar spot in front. And it was super cute as is. But I knew that I could make some cute little tiered tray decor pieces. So I painted it black. And yeah, I intended to leave the little, like this right here. If you do it like that, you can leave those little, make it look slatted where the inside there is black. But yeah, I didn't do that because I wasn't thinking when I started painting it white. So here I go, sanding it. And then I decided I could take that sandpaper edge and sand down inside those little crevices and make it dark. Then I just drew a pumpkin on a little piece of thin cardboard. That cardboard came out of those calendars, those Dollar Tree calendars. And I'm just painting me a little pumpkin on there, cut it out, paint it. And then this is a stem from, I think it came off of that cotton from Dollar Tree. Any kind of little stem, any kind, you can wad up a little piece of scrapbook paper. I'm going to put a little black and white gingham bow. I'm going to glue my little pumpkin on there, glue the little stem on there, and it's done. Yeah, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Sometimes it's hard when you get to watching a video and then you forget to give it a thumbs up, but go ahead and click that thumbs up. Look how cute this is. So simple. Next is another little mini cutting board. Now, I got my mini cutting boards at Aldi, and they had them on clearance. 4 in a pack, and this was the smaller one. There were 2 small ones, 2 large ones, and they were on clearance. I think I got some for $2.99, some for $4.49. We're going to pretend this was the higher priced ones for just for grins and giggles. And then that little leaf was a part of a pack of those leaves, those laser cut leaves from Dollar Tree. And this was some scrap vinyl I had. I don't even know if I can even say it was just pennies to cut that out. And I just cut out Thankful. You could do it with a paint marker. You could do it with some scrapbook paper and Mod Podge it on. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this jute rope that I had left over from something. I think it came off of something or was sent to me with something. It was just a scrap piece I had. And I'm just going to tie a knot in the end. And it's done. That's all there is to this. Simple, easy peasy, so cute. Looks just like the picture. In fact, I think I like mine better than the picture. Let me know what you think. Next, this is a combination of these 2 things I found. I wanted a personalized cutting board, and I wanted it the shape of a pumpkin. And so I took this pumpkin from Dollar Tree. I traced it on my 1x8. Now I figured out how much this 1x8 pumpkin cost, and it was $1.33. That's how much that 1x8 pumpkin cost me. And then I picked up this cork. This is cork, and it's sticky on the back, and I got it at Dollar Tree. And so it was $1.25, and I'm going to use 1 sheet of it. So I traced it, and it didn't go all the way to the top, but that's okay because we can piece it together, and nobody's going to be the wiser unless they watch this video. And so I'm just going to cut it out, and then I'm going to peel the sticky off, and I'm going to stick it to the back. I had tried to trace some stuff on the back of it. I thought I was going to cut some holes in it and make a trivet, but I changed my mind. So you may see that on there as I'm sticking this down. Now there's a little place at the top that it didn't reach, but that's okay. And it didn't go all the way to the edges, but that's okay. This is the back side. And if you want to use it as a trivet and you want to use the cork side as the hot plate, it's okay. Nothing's going to go over there and touch those little sides. So we're going to put this on like this. We're going to flip it over and then get it on there. We're going to trace it. And I didn't show you myself tracing it. Well, I guess I did. I thought I had my head in the camera. Anyway, cut it out and then peel it off and stick it down. And if you put it really, really close and then just rub it into the other one, you can't even tell. You can't even tell that it's pieced together. Just keep rubbing it like that, pushing it down and rubbing it, and you can't even tell. And then I did go back around. The X-Acto knife does not cut it good. I think I ended up going back with my tiny little detail scissors because the X-Acto knife kind of ripped it up. So don't do as I do as I say. Use those tiny little craft knives. See, I ended up putting some hot glue on there and sticking that back on there. And you couldn't tell that it had come off. That cork is very forgiving because of all that random pattern that's on there. But yeah, don't cut it with the X-Acto knife. Use those little teeny tiny detail scissors and it works good. Okay, now we're going to, I guess I'm going to show you that I'm cleaning up my space. I don't know why I didn't edit that out, but just so you know that I clean up. Okay, so here I go. I'm show you that, yeah, the scissors work much better. And you just keep snipping at it and it'll work good. Okay, yeah, I've got some glue there I'm going to get off. Okay, so then I made a stencil with, you can get stencils anywhere if you don't have a Cricut. And I made a stencil with a design I wanted. And then there is this etching, now what is it called? Wood burning etching pen. I'll leave it linked in the description box below. And you just write it on here. Now, I'm going to tell you that I think I used a little too much. I kept going over it and thinking that it needed to be really wet, but I don't think it does need to be. I think you just need to make sure that you cover the entire area. I don't think that it has to, see how wet, you can see that I got mine super wet. I think that's why mine kind of bled into it. So I'm peeling all of this off now, and I don't show you all of that because it's just tedious. Okay, so when I peel it off, it's nice, crisp, clean edges. See how crisp they are? It's when I go to put the heat gun on it that it starts to bleed into the grain of the wood. So I'm using it on low with my heat gun. And I'm gonna get it up here close so you can see just the heat of that. Now I have sped this up so that it, you don't have to sit here and watch it forever. But you can see as I start to put that heat to it, how it starts to bleed out into the grain of the wood. It doesn't look bad. I think it's fine. But yeah, so when I let that cool off, then I get out this wax. It's a natural wood. It's by Minwax, and it's called Natural Wood. And so all it does is bring out the beautiful wood grain of the natural wood. So I love this stain. It is one of my favorites. And so I'm just gonna put a good coat on there. Be sure you're in a very well ventilated area. I had fans going, the door open, the windows open, and I didn't use very much of it. So yeah, just make sure, wear gloves, have it ventilated. Okay, so I'm gonna wait till this dries, and then we're going to put some finishing paste. I love this finishing paste. I've had it for years. You can see there's still a little bit left in the bottom. Doesn't take very much of it. I just did order some DIY clear wax. I cannot wait to get it. I ordered it from Upcycle by Bree. Can't wait to get it, waiting for it. Maybe it'll be here when I get back from vacation, hopefully. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a good coat. Sometimes I let it dry before I buff. Sometimes I buff it right away. Sometimes I put 2 coats on depending on what we're doing. This is for decoration purposes, so we don't really have to worry about that. But you can use the backside for a trivet, for a hot plate if you want, with the cork. So let me know what you think. I just put a little piece of jute twine on top. This little cutting board at Dollar Tree. And I'm just gonna take this glue stick that my cousin gave me that's almost gone, but it's amazing. And I'm going to just glue some of this packing paper that you get on a roll at Dollar Tree and cover up this side with the glitter on it. and then flip it over, use my X-Acto knife and cut it out because that's going to be the back. And we want the back to be all finished out so that our project looks nice and finished. So that's that. And then on the front side, we're going to paint it. So I'm going to start with this paint color that I mixed up because I don't have any chalk paint that is like kind of a cashew or an off-white or Adirondack or any of those cool colors. And then I have this other color that I mixed. I really like to mix my own colors apparently. And I've been using this color for a while. And I'm just using the Chocolate Sprinkles by Apple Barrel and just giving this some dry brushing to give it some dimension, and just as much or as little as you like. Now I'm taking my little handy dandy rag of a t-shirt. I use this a lot in my crafting, and I'm just rubbing it really good, and that will give me a nice smooth finish. Now I've made this little decal on my Cricut, and I'm just sizing it all up. And I'm not showing you all the details of how I weeded it and how I got the transfer tape on there. If you need to see that, there are plenty of videos out there, or you can watch some other of my videos where I do show you how to do that. So I'm going to put these little vines on there that I created through Cricut Design Space. I just picked a couple little designs I liked and put them together to make the design that I wanted it to work on here. Okay, now I've got this twine. These were leftover pieces that, you know, when I take it off a project and I say, we're going to save this for later because I'm going to use it. Well, now it's later and I'm going to use it. So I'm just going to glue it down on the back. I'm going to wrap it around until I run out, because that ends up being however much I wanted, whether it was however much I wanted or not. No, it ended up being just fine, just where I wanted it. I'm just going to snip that off, press that down, hold it till that glue kind of dries. Sometimes I blow it a little bit or I fan it a little bit just to get that glue dry, let it dry. And then I'm going to make just a simple little bow with a couple little loops. I didn't show you how to make that. And then just glue it right up on top. Now, you could wrap it all the way up the top of that little handle if you wanted to, or put some greenery in, but I liked it just like this. Okay, for my next DIY, I bought these little plaques off Amazon. There were 12 of them for $14.99, which made them about $1.25 each, and there were 3 different shapes. And they're kind of thin, but they're great for plaques. You could use them by themselves or add them to some, you know, a bigger project. So I'm using this moss green acrylic paint, and I'm trying not to get it on the edge because I kind of like that burnt brown edge. So I'm just taking the paint out to the edge so that it doesn't get on that edge. Then I'm going to take the chocolate sprinkles again, and I'm going to just dry brush some on the edges to make it look a little distressed, a little worn. And I could have painted brown and then that and then sanded it, but I think this is a much easier technique. So just however much you like or don't like, put it where you want, where you don't want. I just kind of eyeball it and just keep adding until I like it. And then I've kind of thought that this green was a little bit dark to put my decal on. I made a decal to go in the center. And so I got out this DIY white wax. It's by DIY. That's the name of the company. And so I just put it right in the center where I'm going to put my decal. And I thought, well, it would lighten up the center and give it some dimension. Here I go with my little piece of a t-shirt. I'll take my husband's old undershirts and just cut it up in pieces. Yeah, he does wear undershirts. Then I'm just going to rub that in there, and then it kind of makes that undershirts or those t-shirts will kind of make it smooth too. It doesn't sand it like sand or sandpaper or anything. Okay, so I think that DIY wax, I should remember that you can't put this vinyl down on top of it. So what I did was, you can see, I'm going to show you real slow right now, that you can see where I tried to put it down. So I'm just going to take this black paint marker. These paint markers are, I'm going to try to remember to put in the description box below the name of them, because I don't remember if I showed you on the screen just now what they are, but they are amazing. I get them on Amazon, and I will put it in the description box below because they're great. They're really easy to use, and they look like paint when you're done. And so here you go, see? So I just was able to see where that decal was enough to paint it on there, and it dries super fast. Now I'm just going to take a piece of twine and I'm going to tie it on one side, and then I'm going to use a little piece of masking tape on the end of the other end of that piece of twine, and then I'm going to put some beads. I was just going to put a few on each side because I normally like that look, but for some reason I decided to make the whole hanger solid beads. So that's what I did, and then I'm just going to tie the other side in the same manner that I tied the first side, which was a little bit tricky because I needed it to be tight down there, and I needed the twine to end up on the back side of the plaque. But I managed, almost got out of frame there, sorry about that. And I'm just going to snip that, glue it back down on the side, and that is done. I think it turned out so cute. Let me know what you think about this one. This one was a challenge, I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be so simple and so easy. I picked up this little coffee cup at Dollar Tree. It has a little stand, so it stands freestanding. It's heavy, it's MDF, but it's heavy. And I thought, well, I'm gonna paint this out and make a little pumpkin spice coffee cup. And the chalk paint painted on there fairly good. I needed to do a couple coats. I didn't have any orange chalk paint, so I thought I would just put as many coats as it took of this orange pumpkin, I think it's actually called pumpkin acrylic paint. And so I was very careful, and I got it all on there, got one coat, let it completely dry, even used my heat gun a little bit to dry it. It was absolutely completely dry. Don't know why I'm showing you so much of that. Okay, let it dry. Then I came back. Oh, got another little coat of this color that I mixed up myself. I'm always mixing up my own colors, y'all. But it's because then I get the color I want. Okay, so here I go to do the second coat, and it is just ripping off that first coat. And it kind of did it all over. I kept thinking, well, if I could just do it with some chalk paint. So I mixed some reds and yellows and browns until I got the color that I wanted, and it was still doing that. It was just blotchy, and anyway, so I didn't like it. So plan B, don't give up, persevere. So I had a second one because I'd picked up several of them because I really liked these. So I'm just going to take a regular piece of printer paper. I'm not even going to tell you that I almost said tapping paper. Okay, tell me in the comments below if you know what tapping paper is. Okay, printer paper, just regular printer paper, and I'm just going to cut out the shape. I'm going to make a template for that orange that's on my other one, and I'm going to put make some scrapbook paper. I'm going to put some scrapbook paper over it. And there we go. I'm just going to trace. I can see through that paper. It's thin enough, and I kind of already know the shape where it's going to be. I can kind of pick that paper up and look at it, and I can see through there good enough. You can even see through there on the video. Okay, so I'm just tracing that over, and it doesn't even really have to be perfect. Just, you know, make it work. Now I'm going to cut those out, and then that's what I'm going to trace my scrapbook paper. I'm going to make sure that that fits. Yeah, I'm going to cut it a little bit more, which I really shouldn't have done because then it was too small, but then I made that adjustment whenever I cut it out on my scrapbook paper. So I'm going to cut the top one. Very simple, like kids in first grade can do this. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to get my scrapbook paper, my fall scrapbook paper, and I'm going to just trace this out. So I'm going to just trace it on there, both pieces, and then I'm just going to cut both pieces out, and I'm going to glue it down to that cup. Now, this is just to show you, I left the footage in just to show you that it doesn't matter, you just have to stick with it. But this
scrapbook paper I have had for a long time. I got it in a paper pad from Hobby Lobby when they have it half price, which is like every other week. So I'm saying I cut that a little bit bigger than you can see my lines. I cut on the outside of my lines so that it was a little bigger because I knew I'd cut it a little bit short in the first place. So just make those adjustments. And then I can always trim it off with my X-Acto knife. Or if you prefer the sandpaper method, you can do that too. I just think it kind of makes the edges of my paper sometimes look a little rough. So if you're going for the distressed look, that's perfect. But I really was trying to not go for that look on this necessarily. Okay, so glue that down. I love this paper. Anyway, I was talking about those paper pads, and I just have kept that seasonal one. That's the best time to get those paper packs is when Hobby Lobby has their scrapbook paper on half price. Those big old paper pads you can get, and I got this one for like $10, I think, and I've been using it and using it. Okay, now I take Fawn. This is Fawn by Waverly, I believe, and I actually got this one on clearance at Walmart, and I'm just gonna put a little shadows in there to make that look like that lid on those little disposable cups. And then I got a little bit too much, I thought, so I'm just gonna take my little sandpaper. This actually goes to my sander, but you know, it's what I had, and so I'm just gonna sand it a little bit, take my little cloth, wipe the sandpaper off, and then I'm gonna just take a little bit on the side of this little flat brush and just go around the edges of this scrapbook paper. It just give it a little bit dimension. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. And then I was so afraid to put a decal on that because I had one made in a dark brown, but I was so afraid to put it on there because I was afraid it was going to peel my paint off, and I had worked so hard on this. So I just decided to use a brown permanent marker and just do my best handwriting. So what I did was I got a piece of that printer paper that I had left over scrap from that, and I just practiced on it to see. Now I always go uphill, but you know, I just do that. I don't know why when I'm writing in cursive, but anyway, so I think not too bad. I can do that on here. It's about the right size, so I'm just going to hope for the best. Fingers crossed. And here we go. Hello, pumpkin spice. Yep, went uphill a little bit. It's okay. When it's hand lettered and you're writing it yourself, it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, that's what makes it look homemade. I love it. I love this more than my original idea. So let me know what you think. Okay, I picked up this little metal decor piece. I have some nautical rope and these little leather, I don't know what you want to call them, these little leather leaves at Dollar Tree. So I'm going to unravel this 3-ply cord, and I'm just going to use one cord, and it only took that one cord. I'm going to hot glue it to the bottom. I'm going to hold it till it like really adheres good. I'm trying to get myself all untangled, wad it up, and I'm just going to wrap it. I'm just going to wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap until all of it, I have it all wrapped up. Now I'm going to show you in, intervals of it. You don't have to watch me wrap the whole thing. But I did, as I was wrapping, I kind of untwisted so that it was loose. Okay, so I did it all the way around, and then I'm going to show you how I put some more glue there, and then how I'm going to just go under. I hope you can see that. I'm going too fast. And then over. So it's all one continuous. I never cut it. And then I'm twisting it the opposite way to make that cord like a little wider. I don't know how to say that, but I'm untwisting it a little bit to make it looser, to make the cord looser. Okay, so here, I did that to all of it, got it all wrapped up, and then at the very end, I'm just tucking this all around there. So I just wrapped and wrapped and wrapped and wrapped until I got it all wrapped, and it really didn't even take me that long. Now here I go with the fire. I'm gonna burn and singe off all those little extra pieces. Now for the stem, this was a little bit challenging, but I made it work. took a little scrap piece of burlap, wrapped it up in one of those tumbling tower blocks from that game at Dollar Tree. I know you've all seen that. Then I cut off that end. I really wanted it to just look really rugged. And then I took some, what is that? Antique wax. And I just painted it roughly, very roughly. Now I put that glue on there, and then I had to hold it down, and then I'm wrapping the twine in the glue and up on top of the stem, and that's what held it in place. So it's like the glue, and then it reinforced because there wasn't a flat surface to put that stem on, but it turned out great. So now I'm taking the leather little hanger off that leaf, and I'm replacing it with a few strands of that rope that I used, that nautical rope, and I'm just gonna tie it around the top of that and make a little knot there, and I think I made a little bow to go on there, just a very, very simple little kind of shoestring bow to stick, yeah, and I used several little strands of that nautical rope, and look how cute that was. So easy, simple, easy peasy, and it turned out so cute. I'm going to use this scrapbook paper from this pad I was telling you about earlier. And yeah, I paid $10 on half price, and it has all the seasons. Beautiful. I've already used a lot of paper out of this and still have that much left. So I pulled out all the fall ones, and I'm going to use this pumpkin I've had in my stash since maybe 2 years. I don't know. I don't even know if you can still get these, but you can get something similar if you want to do this. And so I'm just going to rip off that and take all the staples out. And I thought I would use this side because of the, you know, not wanting to use the side that had glitter and all that stuff on it. But then when I really got to looking at it, there was only that one piece that had it on there, and it was that metal piece. And so all I had to do was very easily rip that metal piece off. We'll save that because we may use that. And so when I flipped them all over, guess what? That was the only one that had glitter on it. So we're just going to glue this paper right on top. So what I did was I picked the patterns that I wanted and the colors that I wanted for each one. And then I just laid those pieces to the pumpkin down on there, cut it out, traced it on, cut it out, and you'll see what I do in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. But I decided, yeah, okay, I want that one there. I do want this one. Do I want it that way or this way? No, I want it this way. So I just roughly cut what I wanted and trying to place them where I want them so I can kind of get an eye for where I want it. And there's that paper that I used on the cup earlier. And so yeah, so this is the order I decided to put them in. So I'm just going to put some glue on the little pumpkin piece and be sure I get it all the way out to the edges. All over my fingers too. All the way out to the edges. I like to use that little squeegee because if there's any little you know, clumps of gum, oh my goodness, clumps of glue, it will smooth them out. Okay, once I've gotten all the pieces glued down, then I'm going to go back with my X-Acto knife and just cut out. It gets a really nice smooth edge, especially if you have a sharp X-Acto knife blade in there. And then I just cut that out to keep that brown stem. Now I'm going to take a piece of this burlap. This is more scrap burlap I had. And this glue that I'm using is really good. You may need to use something besides glue stick if you don't have a really good heavy-duty glue stick. This is a really heavy-duty one. And I'm going to just glue that burlap down on there and then cut it off. I know like the Aleene's tacky glue would be really good for this, or some craft glue. They have the Aleene's tacky glue or craft glue or whatever it's called. I think it's called tacky glue at Dollar Tree. I love that stuff. Okay, here they are all finished. And then I'm going to take 2 paint stir sticks and some antique wax. And I'm feeling a little crowded and cramped, so move everything out of my way. And I'm just going to give it a really light coat. I mean, I'm just kind of messy coat. Messy. Just slapping it on there. And then I'm going to take a paper towel and, you know, wipe most of it off so that it's not too dark. But I'm going to put these these are going to be the slats behind our pumpkin, so you're only going to really see a little bit of it on each side. But now I'm going to take my Mod Podge, and I buy it in a gallon jug. In case you're new to my channel or haven't heard me say this a million times before, I buy it in a gallon jug, and I've had it for several years, and I use it a lot, but it's lasted me. But I put it in that smaller jar because, you know, it dries out really fast. And sometimes it even gets thick in that jar, and I have to water it down a little bit. And then I'm going to put a big, thick coat of it on this burlap too, so that help it stay glued down a little bit extra. Okay, it's all dry because Mod Podge dries really fast, and so I'm going to kind of lay these out and figure out, yep, that's how I want it. And then I'm going to move that over. I'm going to put these down, and then I'm going to start gluing that pumpkin to these little sticks. Get them where you can't see the sticks, the paint stir sticks, and then I'm just going to start gluing. Now, it is important that these sticks are the same width apart from top to bottom. Luckily, I figured that out before it completely dried, and I was able to pull it apart a little bit. So I'm starting with the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to evenly space the rest of them as best I can. Eyeballing it, if they're not perfect, that's not a problem either, because, you know, if you think they have to be perfect, then measure them by all means. But I think that it's good to eyeball it if you can do it almost perfect. So there we go. So then I decided it needed a little something something. So I had these ribbons that I had picked up at Dollar Tree, and I love these. They're not burlap. They're kind of almost feel like a little bit of linen to them. And then of course that little soft lacy one that I love because I'm a shabby chic kind of girl. And I love this messy bow. I'm not very good at it, but I absolutely love it. So I made it kind of almost like a pom-pom. But then I got these wooden rose curl roses from Dollar Tree. And I just thought they were so natural and rustic looking. I love them. So I thought they would be good for fall. So I'm just going to glue a couple of them to the middle of this little bow and put that on there, and we are done. This first DIY is so simple and so gorgeous. So I took this branch and cut it in half. It was just a branch out off of a tree in my yard. I cut it down, cut it in half. I have this charger from Dollar Tree and some succulents I had in my stash. You can get them at Dollar Tree, and some Spanish moss. I'm going to be using some E6000 as well as some hot glue. So let's get started assembling this. It's so easy, I promise. So I'm going to pick which part of this I want to use, which one I think is going to look better, which direction I want it, and then I'm going to use some hot glue and some E6000 to attach this. The E6000 is going to be a stronger hold, but I'm going to need the hot glue on there to give it that quick hold until the E6000 dries. And then I'm just going to start putting the succulents on however I think they're going to look good. Going to pinch that little piece off so that this will lay flatter on there. And then I'm going to just put them on there, put however you like. I believe that maybe one of my sisters sent me this as an inspiration piece. They are always sending me pictures saying, oh, this is cute. Can you make this? And, you know, of course, I always think I can make everything. So, but I knew this would be really easy, and it was so simple. So here I'm just putting a little extra E6000 under there just to hold those leaves down. It didn't feel very sturdy or very secure. So now I'm just taking some other little pieces in the succulent pack that I got. I ordered these succulents off Amazon. It was a big package of them, and it was very affordable, so I just use those. And then I'm going to just poke a bunch of Spanish moss in where I want to. I put a little hot glue back in there just to hold it in place, and that is it. That is all it takes to make this gorgeous fall DIY. And I think it is just absolutely gorgeous. Let me know what you think about this one. Would you hang this one in your house? I did put a hanger on the back with some twine And I think you could sit it like I did here. I just think it's great. Okay, for the next fall DIY, I got these at Dollar Tree. I just pulled that leaf off, saving it for another DIY. Pull off the shell. I had done this previously and forgot to turn the camera on, so I'm just showing you that I did that. And then I'm going to put some scrapbook paper on that later, but first I'm going to use a little piece of masking tape on the back side of this, on the back side of those holes, so that when I put my little filler, I'm using some Dollar Tree, I think it's called spackling. I'm going to put that in. That masking tape on the back is going to keep it from going all the way through that hole. Now I'm just marking my scrapbook paper to fit inside that frame. Now I'm going to take my paper cutter and cut it. If you don't have a paper cutter, you can just draw some lines and cut it. I'm going to just use a regular old glue stick and glue it down. And this works great. And sometimes I get my little squeegee and I press it out with that little red squeegee up there in the corner. And that helps it to get the glue spread out everywhere. Now I'm just kind of sanding that down a little bit, wiping off all the sand, grit to make it nice and smooth so we can paint it. Now you choose whatever color paint you want. I wanted this to be like a fall leaf, like kind of a little bit of a dark leaf, and I'm going to put some words on it. So I chose this color Fawn by Waverly, and I gave it one good coat all over. I used my paintbrush sort of in the direction that I felt like it would give it some texture. I don't know if that really mattered or not, but I felt like it did. And then I didn't have the camera rolling when I did the colors on there, but these are the colors that I used, sand and terracotta, and I just kind of dry brushed on there to make it look like a leaf. Then of course I'm going to grab my little scrap of t-shirt and I'm going to rub it on there because I love the finish that it gives before I'm going to put a decal on. Then I am going to use a little bit lighter color and dry brush a little bit lighter. I'm just mixing a little bit of that. I'm thinking that, I don't even know what color that was. Just a little lighter beige color with my white, just because I didn't want it to be stark white, to make that leaf a little bit lighter. Then I made this decal, Fall for Jesus, He never leaves. And this is so true. If you will depend on Jesus, He is never going to leave you. This world will leave you behind, but Jesus is always going to be there for you. So I love this little saying. I saw it last year and I put it on a t-shirt, and so I thought, well, this would be cute to put on a leaf. So I got these little tower tumbling blocks so that it would be a little bit more secure because I didn't have enough of this leaf to put on that frame. So I really didn't even paint this frame because it matched that scrapbook paper so good. That's a win-win. I love when this happens. So now I'm just going to glue the leaf to those little blocks, and voila! How cute is this? I think it turned out really cute. Okay, our next fall DIY, we are moving right along. This is so simple. I picked this up at Dollar Tree, not in my town. Got this when we were in Colorado, and I found a really good Dollar Tree there, and I ended up having to send stuff home with someone. But anyway, I have scrapbook paper, I have a brown piece, and a little turkey piece. I'm just going to glue it together. Easy peasy. I mean, how much more simple can you get? Use whatever you want. You could put a picture of your kid. You could put a picture of your grandkid. You could put a picture of your dog. You know, you could put whatever you want. I just wanted to put a picture of a turkey because it's fall. It's going to be Thanksgiving soon. And then up here, I just decided I'm going to put a little bow. So I got some of that, it's kind of like a burlap lace ribbon. I don't know what you call that. And I'm just going to wrap it around my finger a few times. And I also have some of that, it's kind of like baker's twine, I think, but it's a little bit thicker. And I'm just going to make a simple little bow, wrap it around there, and then I'm just going to glue it up on top of that clip. That's what that little thing is called. I want you to know it's really, am called Late Night Creations for a reason. It's very late at night. Actually, it's very early in the morning right now while I'm doing this voiceover, so you may have to just figure out what I'm doing without me telling you. So these are florals, obviously. I'm just going to cut the leaves down and make them like smaller and glue them to that bow, not in the flower in the middle, and glue it all down, and it's going to be cute. I mean, how easy is that? Super easy. I'm telling you, these DIYs are pretty easy. I did them very quickly. I think I did all of these in one day. Sometimes it takes me a couple days to get some DIYs done. I think I did all of these in one day. So yeah, this one was super easy, and I think it turned out really cute. I love that it's on an easel.
I really hope that you are enjoying these simple fall DIYs today. And be sure and like this video. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up right now while you're watching, and leave me a comment and let me know which one of these you think you might create or that you thought was your favorite.
Okay, let's get right into this next fall DIY. Another pumpkin. This one is super cute too. So this one came from Dollar Tree. I'm just disassembling all these little embellishments, and this little thing was on there. That little leaf was on there really good, but I took it off, and because I wanted to keep it for a future DIY because it was really cute, but I just didn't want it on there for this one. So I'm using some of this brown craft paper to cover up the back side because we do not want to mess with all that glitter. So I'm just using my little squeegee to press it out and get that glue all the way out to the edges. Then I'm going to use my X-Acto knife and just cut it. Now a lot of people use sandpaper, and that is an excellent way to do that. It does kind of make it look a little bit more rustic sometimes, and I don't know, it's just easier for me to use my craft knife, my X-Acto knife, so that's what I like to do. And I like to make these little labels and put these on my creations so that people know who made it, who it's from. It's like my little signature. So anyway, that's that. So I'm taking this, I think this is called Sage, and I love this color. And I'm painting this whole thing with one coat of this, maybe it's called Italian Sage, I can't remember, it's Sage. And then I'm going to take the wax in Antique, and I'm just dry brushing it. I'm really just dry brushing to get some depth of those where those creases would be in the pumpkin. Now I didn't make those lines quite in the right place, so I wanted that centerpiece to be a little fatter. So I just took my original color and went over the lines that I made, covered them up because I'm telling you I wanted it to be fatter. And so then I just went back over it and made it fatter. So then I'm going to take some of that same Antique Wax by Waverly and dry brush it around just to give it a little dimension and make it look like it's been sitting out in the field a little bit. Never really seen a pumpkin this color sitting out in the field, but we're just pretending, and when we're DIYing it, we can make it up whatever story we want to. Now I'm just going to take a little white, give it a little highlights, and keep it all up top because the highlights should be kind of where the light is hitting it. So the light is going to be hitting it on the tops, not on the bottoms. The light doesn't get to the bottom. I'm telling you that right there. Keep it to the top, on the top where the light's hitting it. And then I made this decal on my Cricut. It says, "Don't be a turkey, be thankful." I don't know where that popped into my head. I found that little turkey, that little wooden turkey that I'd gotten at Dollar Tree, you see over there on the right. And I found it in my stash, and I just wanted to use it. And so I was like, don't be a turkey. And then so I just came up with this little saying. Now, when I pulled that off, I kind of messed that H up, but I'm showing you, you do not have to fret. You just mess around with it until you make it right. And that's part of making things handmade. Now, I'm taking this twine that I absolutely love. I wish I remembered where I got it because I love it. I would love to get some more. I think I got it during Christmas, possibly at Walmart. I'm not real sure. But I'm going to wrap it all around this stem until I get to the very tippy top. I'm going to close it off at the top and a bunch of hot glue at the very tip. And I think that looks really cool. Now I'm just going to, you could see what I'm doing. I'll lay out a piece of this burlap ribbon, and then I'm just make a couple of loops. I'm going to take some more of that twine. I'm going to cinch it up in the middle. I'm trying to make sure they're all kind of the same length. I'm not real pedantic about them all being exact because I don't think anything should look that perfect. Well, I do, but it's okay if it doesn't. Then I'm going to put that back part that's going to be the tails on the back, tie it in there too, and just fluff it a little bit. This is not wired, so it's not going to fluff a lot, but I am able to kind of twist it around a little bit. And then I'm going to use the Antique Wax by Waverly and get it on that turkey. I'm not going to put it on the sides because the sides already look a little stained or, you know, wood burned or something. Now I'm going to make a little tiny bow with finger bow that just knot it up like that. I'm going to make that, and I am going to glue that on top of the turkey to cover up that hole because I did not want to fill that hole because sometimes the stain doesn't cover it when you do that, but I thought the little bow on there was cute. So I'm going to put this turkey in the middle of this bow, and I really considered just leaving it like that because, you know, how I feel about florals, but I'm beginning to like them more and I'm beginning to enjoy using them more. So I just decided to use some of these fall leaves and just kind of stick them in there a little bit, and then a little bit of that, I think I used a little bit of that wheat that you see over there. I'm just playing around trying to figure out what I want where. And then I put it in, and then I go back and I don't even take it out. I just lift everything up and stick glue in. And I'm just cutting these pieces off and sticking and poking until I decide I like it. If I don't like it, I take it out. I poke it in somewhere else. I'm manipulating. Okay, I'm thinking that looks pretty good. So I just start lifting pieces up and putting and gluing it in. Nope, decided I didn't like the orange. We're going with the same color on both sides. Nope, gonna put a little yellow in there. Yep, well, nope, yep, nope. Okay. I'm gonna get a little bit symmetrical anyway. Okay, I think this is where I start putting the glue. Oh, I didn't show you that part. I just lifted it all up, put a little glue in there, and it's done. Okay, next fall DIY. Another super duper simple. Picked this up at Dollar Tree. I think it's super cute, just like it is. But I wanted to take it up a notch and make it a little personalized. So using that same scrapbook paper from that same pad of fall scrapbook paper I've been using, I just cut it to fit the size. I measured it and then cut it to fit the size. I'm going to put a little spackle in this leaf, and then I'm going to use that terracotta paint, and I'm giving it one coat. One simple coat. I don't need a whole lot of full coverage. I just wanted to give it a little bit of that color, and I'm going to use another one of those tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put that leaf right in the center. This is simple, it's beautiful, and we are done. Tell me what you think about this one. Would you have embellished it more, or do you think it looks cute like that? Next DIY. This was the last one, and this part right here gave me a little bit of trouble, but I managed to get these all out, and I ended up breaking off one of the ends of this frame, but I glued it back together very easily. I don't think I showed that on camera, but then I took that back part of the, did I not even show you this from the beginning? Oh boy. Okay, so it was this thankful sign that I got from Dollar Tree. And I just took the back off, took that sunflower paper out and used it as the guide to put some of this beautiful fall paper in there. And then this thankful little MDF cutout was on top of it. So I'm just going to take this blue, beautiful blue paint by Waverly, I believe. And I had to give it 3 coats. It took 3 coats of paint to cover this. So I'll give it 3 coats of paint. And then I took a little bit of the antique wax and I just kind of dry brushed it. I forgot to turn the camera on. And anyway, so then I took my stapler and then I stapled that back to it. And I think it turned out great. This one I think is my favorite. Well, I like the Fall for Jesus. I like it a whole lot, but I really like the thankful sign. Let me know in the description box which one's your favorite. So my friend came to spend the weekend with me and she gave me great inspiration to do a book stack and cover it with some tissue paper. So here I am taking these little paperback books and I'm being very careful to remove the covers because if you just rip it off, sometimes you rip those pages off. You rip that glue off and it makes holes in the paper and then you start losing pages. So I was really careful to try to keep that little ridge of glue on there. Especially, I don't want to lose this plain white page. And so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and really work really hard. I was trying to kind of warm it up with my hand. Instead, I got my heat tool out, my heat gun, to warm up that glue a little bit, and that worked really, really good. And I just worked it really slowly to pull that off gently, and it kept it all nice intact. I kind of pushed that down while it was still warm to keep that all intact. And you can see it's still a little sticky, and push it all down, and it dried really quick, and so that worked really good. So I'm going to put the 2 printed sides together so I have 2 plain sides with no print on them. And I'm just going to glue it together with just a little bit of glue. So technically, if anybody ever wanted to read these books, they could. So glue it together, and then I'm going to take this Mod Podge and I'm going to give it a good coat of Mod Podge on the top and on the binding side. Now I just, with this week's video, decided to try that new iron-on technique with Mod Podging. The book stack was not actually the first DIY I did in this video to try this out. So I'm not as excited about it on this one, but you're gonna see that I tried the iron-on method and I am hooked. Oh my gosh, you're gonna be seeing me do all kinds of Mod Podge now. So you just let it dry completely, and then I used a little parchment paper because I was a little nervous. And then put the heat on it. You can use an iron. I'm using my little Cricut iron because I love it. And I mean, it just sticks on there, like it melts it to it. It's like magic. I'm telling you. And then I just took my little fine grit sandpaper and sanded down, and it came off. Now this is a piece of that drop cloth, like painter's drop cloth, canvas drop cloth, and I just cut a strip because I'm gonna make like a piece of ribbon, sort of, kinda. Anyway, and then I'm just gonna trim off the frayed edge until it's kind of the length I want, and I did that on both sides. Now you better cut it a little wider than you actually want it, because yeah, you could see on that one side how it really frayed, you know, kind of down. Anyway, you could, if you decide to do this, you'll figure it out. It's not difficult, trust me. So then I'm just going to glue that around my little book stack. I was trying to make a couple of things look a little bit like fall with all my beautiful spring tissue paper, but so I thought this looked good. I thought this turned out really good. And so I had this ribbon that came from Dollar Tree, and so I just layered it up, and then I'm going to take some of this, some more of this canvas, and I had 2 different widths that I did of that, and then some more of that ribbon. I just, no rhyme or reason, I just started cutting a bunch of pieces. I just cut the drop cloth till I didn't have any more, and then I just cut a bunch of pieces of ribbon, and I'm just going to kind of make one of those messy bows. I'm just sticking it all down there, and then I'm going to kind of push it all together. And then those strings that I took off earlier that I pulled off, I saved a few of those to use as some string. Duh, as some string, Kendra. And so, yeah, I'm going to just tie that in the center and fluff it up. And then I had these little wood pieces from Dollar Tree. You know, those little, I don't know what they're called, little die cut out wood pieces. So I stuck that string up through them and tied them together, and tied both of those little leaves together just to have a little bit of embellishment on there. And I think they turned out super cute. And that's, oh, and then I took some more of that, I was gonna make a bow out of that, but it didn't really look right. So I took some more of that and just made like a little finger bow, and no, like a little shoestring bow, sorry. And I just made a little one, and I just glued it to the top of that. Look how adorable that string is. I'm in love with that string. I might just tear some off just to have string. Anyway, I think it turned out really cute. I think it would look great for fall. I styled it with some pumpkin.
And she made this out of some little wooden stump. I don't know what they're called, but anyway, I had these in my stash, and I had this wooden sign from Dollar Tree that I ended up not using. But anyway, I had these little wooden slices that someone had given me. We'd had a baby shower or wedding shower at my house, and they were part of the decor, and they just left them and gave them to me because they knew I was crafty. And so I'm just writing with a paint marker the letters H, M, and E, and then I'm going to paint a pumpkin for the O. So I'm just going to use, it's Pumpkin by Waverly, and I'm just going to paint that little pumpkin shape. Pumpkins are super, super easy to paint. They are very forgiving. You just paint the shape. I'm just going around painting it a little bigger and a little whatever. And if you're not used to paint, do you see how I have my little pinky up there steadying my finger? So that's kind of how you help make your hand a little more steady, is steady it with your little finger. Okay, now I'm going to take this, I think that's the Fawn by Waverly, and I'm just going to make some little lines in there like the shape of the pumpkin. So it helps just make the shape look a little bit better. And then I think I give it a little stem with maybe, I don't know what I used, some little brown paint. And then I'm going to take a drill bit the size of a toothpick, and I'm going to drill a hole in the bottom of each one of these wood slices. And then I ended up not using that other piece of wood I showed you in the beginning because I didn't like the thickness and everything. I didn't like anything about it with those. So I had this little piece of wood in my stash, and I put some, you know, the chalk, actually it was already stained this color because I had it left over from a project. But I'm going to take a little bit of white chalk paint and just give it a little dry brush so it has that kind of whitewashed look. And the Waverly wax, antique wax stain is what I used on that originally. And then I thought I got a little bit too much, so I went and put some more of the wax back on there. And then I decided, because I'm really into this fawn for fall decor, I decided to put a little bit of that in there. Just give it a, you know, few more colors. Why not, right? Okay, so I get through doing that, and then I'm going to line those little wood slices up where I want them to sit on this piece of wood. Well, I'm just really going to town and putting all this paint on here. I'm just showing it all to you. You put as little or as much as you want to make it look how you want it. Okay, now I'm going to line them up. Just going to take a little pencil. I'll get a lot of my hair, and just in case y'all want to see the purple in my hair, I'm going to put my little dots there. and then I'm going to drill holes right where I think that those should be. Well, I know you're going to get to see my hair in this video here in a little bit. So I'm going to just make those holes, and then I'm just going to stick those down in there. There you go. Well, I guess I decided they were too long, so I decided to cut them off a little bit. But I also was going to use a little bit of wood glue, so I put a little bit of wood glue on a piece of paper, and I just kind of twisted that down on there. And there you go. Now, for the stems, I just went out in my yard and cut off this little branch. So I'm going to use this little tiny miter saw and cut them kind of at an angle. And I kind of like that that's broken off, so I'm going to use that one. And I'm going to be very careful not to get my fingers. This has a little safety thing where you have to push that little red button down. And so look, I've got a cute little stem that's going to go on there just like that. Cute. So now I'm going to use some wood, this wood glue. This wood glue dries pretty fast, so but I did need to use hot glue on this because, yeah, you're going to see. I'm not sure if I left this in here or not. I may have edited it out. I'm just trying to decide which ones look best on which ones. I really, really wanted to just use the wood glue, but I couldn't make it stick and dry long enough, so I ended up using hot glue, and it worked just fine. And I think that these little stems look so cute on there. Anyway, I'm sure I'll show you all 4 of them because you might not know how to glue those on there. There you go. And then, last but not least, I think I did go back and put a little hot glue on that first one over there that I just put the wood glue on because it kept falling off when I was trying to put my ribbons on. Oh, then I took the antique wax. This was a good little trick, actually, y'all. I took that antique wax and I just, where I had cut it and it was kind of raw looking, I just took that antique wax and put that on there and then just kind of darkened them up a little bit. It made them look so cute. Okay, so I have this black and white check ribbon, and it was too wide, so I'm just going to cut it down the middle, and I'm just going to tie it around and just make a knot. I'm not even going to make a bow. I'm just going to double knot it, and I'm going to make a bow. Here I go with the hot glue. Well, I think I put the hot glue down because just there goes the hair. I knew I had the hair in there somewhere. Okay. Just in case y'all wanted to make sure I still had the purple. There it was. Okay, so I'm just going to double knot it and just have the little tail sticking out because I like how that looks. If you want a bow, by all means, make you a bow. And now I'm going to do this with this little raffia. I'm going to do the same thing. Like I said, if you want bows, absolutely, definitely make bows. But I liked how this looked. Very simple. So I'm going to do that on all 4, every other one. Just keep twisting until I get it right. I decided it needed a little hot glue for some coercion to stay where I wanted it to be. And look how cute. I was so happy with this. I didn't have the same little wood slices that Misty had. I thought hers were super cute and they sat up on her little wood block so cute, but I just used what I had in my stash. I have a ton of these in my stash, and I just used what I had. And I've never seen those little wood slices or blocks or whatever they're called at my Dollar Tree. So I'm not sure why I'm showing you all this either, but just in case you don't know how to tie knots around the stems, I guess. Anyway. Also, I wanted to show you that, you know, you can make really cute stuff even if you don't have a cutting machine. I just used the paint marker. You could probably use a Sharpie just as well. And there goes the hair again. And printing, you don't even have to have beautiful penmanship to just make printed block capital letters. So this was easy. This was an easy DIY. Well, it was easy for me. One creator said her daughter said, Mom, just because it was easy for you doesn't mean it's easy for everybody. So, you know, point made, point taken. But anyway, so now I'm just taking some Spanish moss and I'm just going to lightly glue it down and tack it down, you know, just a couple little places. And you can put as much or as little of this as you want. I just wanted a little bit here and there. And I just think it turned out really cute. I love how it turned out. I'm going to show you a picture of it in the end, how it turned out. And I love it. Love it, love it. Let me know what you think. Do you like this one or the first one better? And I got one more for you, so don't go anywhere. A little bit more on the other end to balance it out. And we will be done. So these are the little tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree, and I did a set of 3, a set of 2, and then 1. And I'm just, for whatever reason, I'm using my paintbrush. Sometimes I use the paintbrush to put the glue on, sometimes I don't. So I have it on this little pumpkin candle holder. Why I'm doing that, I don't know. For your entertainment, I suppose. So see, now I'm just squirting it out. So however you want to do it. But I just know I didn't want a lot of that glue, you know, slipping out the edge. Because, you know, it makes a mess. So I did 2 sets of these. Well, I did 3 and then 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then 1 for the other side. Okay, and I'm going to make 2 of these. So I'll make 2 of these. 2 pumpkins. So this makes, what I'm doing right now makes 1 pumpkin. And so I made 2 of these. Okay, that's the small one. Now I'm going to make a big one. I got these tumbling tower game at Five Below. No, I got this at Aldi. I got this one at Aldi. I don't even remember how much I paid for this one, but look at the difference in the size. Okay, I paid like maybe $9.99 for this game. And I was actually going to play it with my grandkids, and I was like, oh, no, I think I'll use this in a DIY. So I'm going to use 4 and then 3, then 2, then 1 because it's bigger and I needed more. Okay, you can see that the glue is coming out the back side because I used too much, and that's why I was trying to use the paintbrush, but these are bigger, so yeah. Anyway, like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to why I do what I do. There's no reasoning to the insanity over here. Okay, so this one is big, but it turned out really cute. So the same concept. Okay, so here I go with this orange again. This one is called Tuscan Sunset. I do remember that. It is a beautiful, it's like a perfect fall pumpkin orange. And then I'm going to use my DIY white wax, and I'm going to kind of dry brush it a little bit more than a dry brush, I think. And then I tried to wipe it off, and then I decided I didn't really like it wiped off. I liked it on there a little bit more. So just, you know, you do you, and you figure out what you like and how you like it to look. Then I took a little of the Antique Wax by Waverly, and I put it in the crevices. I'm going like, I sped this up really fast, but I just kind of put it on the top, and I put it in the crevices, like where it would be darker down there. Then I decided I was going to braid this. I don't know, y'all. I decided I was going to braid this to make a stem. So I did use this on the small, on these little small ones that I painted in that blue or green, whatever color you want to call that. I think it looks more blue to me, but I think it's called something green. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna put it in the description box. So I kind of braided it. This one I decided not to braid. I decided I was just going to twist it and wrap another piece around it. I don't know. I just wanted to have a stem that was different than a twig or something like that. So this one turned out really cute. I tried to do it with leather, but it didn't turn out. It did not turn out good with the leather. So I just decided to use this raffia. I already had it out from the last, from the first DIY, so why not? I'm sorry I'm out of focus there a little bit, but I just twisted it and then tied it off at the end, cut it, and then just kind of frayed the ends and twisted it and yeah, glued it down and twisted it some more. And then I put some Spanish moss around the base of it, and look how cute they are. Look how stinking cute those are. I love them. I got this little pot that was really ugly. I picked it up for $1, knowing that I could paint it and redo something, make it into something new. So the bottom of it was kind of a matte stone. It's a stone little pot, vase, whatever you want to call it. But the top of it had like a little glaze on it. The bottom of it was porous. It covered much better. I should have spray painted it, but I didn't, and so this is what I did. I did 2 coats of paint, and I really didn't mind on the second coat that some of the other color showed through a little bit. So as you can probably guess, I'm going to make a pumpkin out of this. Okay, so I'd already started painting on the lid when I started recording, because sometimes I forget to push record. So here we go. Was this 1 coat or 2? Okay, this was 1 coat. So I'm going to show you what it looks like after 2. So the bottom of it, I'm trying to show you how the bottom of it looked a little bit better than the top of it. I had to be really careful on the top that the paint didn't pull away, because that's just kind of what happens on ceramic. So I just did it really careful, and then I let it dry really, really good before I did anything else. I let it dry really good in between the coats too, but you know, it just kind of happens with ceramic. So then I painted this little lid, and it was that ceramic as well. So I'm doing it a lot of paint on my paintbrush and really just doing it really lightly. And like I said, I didn't mind if some of that color showed through, because, you know, see there? That's exactly what I'm talking about. But it's okay. Because it's not really going to look super rustic, but a little bit. And we're going to have some twine on there, and so we're not going to worry about that one bit. Okay, here it is, all finished. And I'm showing you that it has a little bit of that color through, but guess what? We're taking some antiquing wax by Waverly, and we're just taking this fan brush, which I have just kind of discovered this to dry brush with. I really like it, you know, depending on what you're trying to dry brush. But I liked this. Okay, got a little much on there, but guess what? It's so forgiving, because you can just take a brush, a cloth, and you can just wipe it away. Look at that. So I love the lines in this. Once I got past the ugliness of the original piece, and I apologize if you have this in your house and you think it's beautiful, but it's just not my style. So now I'm going to take this twine. Now you watch how I do this, because this turned out pretty stinking cute. So I'm just going to keep putting glue around there, and I'm just going to keep wrapping it around, add some more glue, wrap it around. And so when I run out of that little knob up there, I just keep wrapping it on top of itself. Okay, so instead of going around to the top of that, now I'm just wrapping that twine on top of itself, kind of on the inside of itself a little bit, because I do want it to get smaller as I go up. So I hope that you can tell what I'm doing here, because it worked out really good. And I'm going to put a little glue on top of the twine and just keep wrapping it on itself. I'm a little bit tongue-tied tonight. I don't know what's wrong with me. So here we go. And I guess I'm going to show you the whole thing. But it was really easy, and it really turned out cute, because that little knob wasn't really tall enough to be a pumpkin stem. So, yeah, it really turned out cute. So when I got to the top, then I just kind of poked that little piece of that twine down in the middle to kind of cover it up. And I kind of fought with it a little bit, so I decided to go ahead and cut it off. Just go ahead and cut it off and just poke it all down in there. And Yeah, it turned out really cute. So I'm just going to poke it down because it's hollow down in there, remember? And I did not make a loop. We're not going to hang it. I just keep poking it down and poking it down, poke it down in there, and then put a little bit more glue, and then just, yeah, get that spatula out. Those little silicone spatulas that you can get at Dollar Tree are marvelous. Okay, look how cute that little stem turned out. Then I'm just going to take a little bit of that antique wax that's still left on my brush and on my little table there. And look how cute it turned out. Let me know what you think. Was it cuter before or after? Okay, so I've had this thing for a long time. It did come from Dollar Tree, but I've had it for a long time in my stash. And so I just grabbed it, and we're going to just pretend that I bought it at a garage sale, okay? Because you could maybe find something like this at a garage sale. But I had this little stump. Now, this was, I don't remember if this was part of what was given to me in a bag of these, or if I did actually buy these off Marketplace, which is like, you know, garage sale thrifting. I did buy a bag of them to decorate with or to paint, and so I don't know which bag this came out of. But anyway, I loved that little piece at the top that looked like a stem, and the shape of this, I just had to paint it like a pumpkin. I just thought. So I'm just using this. It's called Canyon Sunset. I love it for pumpkin colors. That other one, I can never remember the name of it. But I got them both at Hobby Lobby, and they are, I want to say they're folk art matte colors. And I just went very carefully around this edge and just had plenty of paint on my paintbrush. And so I just kind of made a little bead around the edge. If you want to draw it on there and stay in your lines, absolutely do that. But I just thought it turned out so cute. Look how cute that is. Then I'm going to take a little bit of that antique wax with this tiny, tiny little paintbrush. Oh, this isn't the tiny one. This is kind of, it is a small one, but it's not the tiny one. And I'm just going to make those lines in here that make it look like a pumpkin. And you know what? If you kind of make them too thick, or you mess up, or you don't really like it, they're too dark, just take that orange paint and just smooth it out, blend it in. I made the tiniest little shoestring bow out of a little piece of twine and put on there. And now I'm just trying to see, do I want it straight? Do I want it crooked? How do I want to place that on there? Now I'm taking some DIY white wax. Like, what am I using here? And I'm just doing a dry brush. Not really dry brush, kind of semi-dry brush on there. I don't really want to wipe it because I want you to still be able to see that really pretty color. And to me, if you wipe that wax, you get a totally different color, which sometimes I like, but no, I didn't want it on this project. So I think this was a great makeover on this little decor piece. I love these. So I had a branch out in my yard, and I keep a branch all the time to try to do some DIY with. And so I just cut these, just took it out to my miter saw and just cut these all, tried to get them all the same thickness, and you know, they're pretty close, but it's rustic, so you know, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to show you how I painted one of them. And so I'm going to show you the orange one the same way I just painted that other little wood round. I'm going to paint it the color, and then I'll take a little brown, and then I'll take a little white, and if I get too much, I go back with the orange. And then I had this came off of a, I think it was a cotton pick from Dollar Tree, and I'm just taking the tiniest little piece with some hot glue and sticking it on there for the stem. Now I did 4 different colors on 4 of them. Oh, that glue wasn't dry. There we go. And now I'm just going to glue a magnet on the back. I got these magnets. I believe I got these at Dollar Tree or maybe Hobby Lobby. I don't know, either place. If you use a, wait till they're on sale at Hobby Lobby. We can't use a coupon at Hobby Lobby anymore. But they're very inexpensive, these little magnets. Or you also can get them at Dollar Tree. And so I just made some little refrigerator magnets. And I did not put them on my refrigerator to display them. I put them on a cookie sheet that I put some scrapbook paper on. So these were super easy. I picked up these 2 adorable pumpkins at Dollar Tree when I was on vacation because my Dollar Tree didn't have them. So now I'm just going to use my heat gun to get that little burlap bow off there because it was stuck on there. Stuck like Chuck. Excuse me. So, came off good. Happy about that. Now I'm just going to take my sanding blocks that I get on Amazon. I will link those in the description box below in case you're interested. They came in a multi-pack and it was a really good buy. So I'm just going to sand them down, get them nice and smooth so that it will take the paint good. And I have this Dixie Belle in Sawmill Gravy, and I shouldn't have used it out of the lid first because for some reason it was a little more watery. But as I started using it out of the jar, oh my goodness, my first time to use Dixie Belle. Love, love, love. And when I was in the antique mall, I found a dealer here local, so I don't have to order it. And she is a doll. And so I can't wait to go purchase more Dixie Belle paint and rub-on transfers from her. So I'm just doing this in the Canyon Sunset that I've used all fall. Totally love this paint. It is such a beautiful orange. It's just perfect, in my opinion, for my fall decor. So I gave this 2 coats because you can see it wasn't covering that monogram. Now I'm just going to take my sanding block again and just distress it a little bit. I didn't even paint over those distressed parts because I liked where they had the distressing. So I just gave it a little extra distressing on the edges, and I tried to get that little sanding block in those places that were already distressed, and then I just took a little extra off and took my nice little t-shirt and my little scrap of a t-shirt and wiped it clean. Now I'm taking this dark wax by DIY and I'm going to just make some shadows. And this stuff is really an incredible product. If you haven't tried it yet, you should try it. I get mine from Upcycle by Bree. I'll leave her link in the description box below to her website. She does really fast shipping. It's just really good stuff. So put a little on, kind of wipe it off. It's kind of like a glaze. And then, oh, I decided I got a little too much. So you take their clear wax and rub it on there, and it acts like a little bit of an eraser. It is so nice. And then the finish that it gives is not really a slick finish. It's not a matte finish. It's just right. I sound like Goldilocks. It's not too slick. It's not too matte. It's just right. Okay, by now, if you've watched my channel at all, you know I'm a dork. So this is all for your entertainment. Otherwise, it would be terribly boring. So I'm doing the same thing on this orange one. And, you know, this is all personal preference. However much you like to do. If you want to make it super dark in there, you can make it super dark. I just wanted a little bit of shadowing in there, so, you know, it just, well, give it the look that I want. Now, I have these little random leaves that I got from Dollar Tree. I've had them in my stash probably 3 or 4 years. And then I have this little paper. This is just a little chunk of it. It came in 8.5 by 11 sheets on a pad from Hobby Lobby, and I've had it for years, so I don't even know if they still sell it or not, but if you can find it, grab you some. It is so fun to do banners and all kinds of stuff with because it's a little bit stiffer than burlap, but it looks like burlap. So you can see I just traced it and cut it out, and it has like, it feels almost like cardboard. So now I'm going to glue that white. It's not really white. It's kind of a between, it's kind of a grayish. We'll call it grayish, but I love it. It's a beautiful color. You're gonna be seeing a lot more of that in my DIYs. Okay, so I'm gonna glue it on top, and it's gonna stand up really nice. And just, yeah, gluing it on top. Then I'm gonna put that burlap leaf on the back, but first I think I'm gonna put some twine around the stems, just the base of the stem. I'm not gonna do the whole stem like I do sometimes. I just need it to have a little embellishment. You know, I don't know. You can leave a comment below and let me know. Like, as creative people, there's no rhyme or reason why we do things. It's just like, hey, I think this will look good, I'll do it. And then if it doesn't look good, we rip it apart. Let me know if that's how you craft, because that's what I do. Oh, I think that'll look cute. And then sometimes I do it and like, yep, that wasn't so cute. So I just thought that would look cute to wrap that around there. And then I'm going to glue one of those little green leaves on top of that to give it some dimension. And then I'm going to try to figure out where I want to place that. It's kind of hard to tell when it's laying down. I want it to be in the camera shot for you guys to see, but it's hard for me to tell because if I want to get on top of it, then my head is in the camera. So I'm trying to place it where I think it'll look good. And then I have these little pit berries. I was schooled on that in a live video I did with Connie at Connie's Creative Creations. And she told me these are called pit berries. Did not know that. So, yeah, they're really pretty. They're very fallish. I got some in different colors too, so I'm going to be able to use those during the holiday season as well. So I'm just wrap it around the end of my X-Acto knife. You can use a pencil, you can use a dowel rod, whatever. Then I made this little it's not burlap, that is twine. So I'm going to make a little twine bow with several loops, and I just think it's so cute. I don't know, let me know, do you think twine bows are cute? I think they're cute. I think they just add just a little touch, especially like little tiny twine bows. I think they're cute. So I decided it needed one more little green leaf in there. So I'm going to stick that little green leaf in there. I glued it in, and there's the finished product. Let me know what you think about this little pumpkin. It is so cute. So I filled those holes with the spackle from Dollar Tree on both of them. I'm doing both of these exactly the same. So I'm going to kind of go back and forth. So I have this same bluish green that I've used all this fall season. All fall, y'all. And it's called Greenscape, and it's by Folk Art, and it's one of their colors in their matte collection. So I did the truck in this color. This is actually my favorite color in the whole wide world. And so I got a little tiny brush to get in there, and I'm going to paint the tires black. And this is a black by, I'm pretty sure it's DIY paint. It's called Debbie's something, but it's Debbie's, I don't know, DIY. We just call it DIY, I guess, DIY paint. And then the inside, the hubcaps, I'm just going to paint them a solid gray. I'm not sure if this is silver lining or, I don't know, it's just a gray. You do whatever you like. Now I'm using the antique wax and just painting it on here with almost, this is an old brush, and it's hard to get a lot of paint on the brush, so that's why I'm using it, because I don't want to put a lot of that on there. So I just put some on there, and then I'm just going to wipe it off with my little old scrap of a t-shirt. I use that. I cut it in little like 6 by 6 inch squares, and I just use them. Okay, off camera, I guess, I put a teeny tiny little burlap bow on those pumpkins, and now I'm just using this white paint marker. I got those, I believe I got those on Amazon. I'll try to remember to link that in the description box below also. I need to keep a list of what all I'm supposed to link. I'll try to remember what all I used in here that I got on Amazon, and leave you guys some links, and you can just click on that link and go in and see if that's something you want to purchase to add to your stash. Okay, so now I'm just using this, what did I, oh yes, I used that DIY wax on those pumpkins, and I just am using the leftover on the rag. I didn't add extra to the rag. This is just what's left over, so I'm just kind of putting it where I want it on here to give it a little dimension. So there, I had a little left in that paintbrush, so I'm just rubbing it on my little t-shirt, and there you go. Now, I have these little wooden pumpkins. You can get these at Dollar Tree, and they have a hole in them, like as an ornament. But I got these at Hobby Lobby, and they were 40% off. And however many were in a package, I can't remember, but they were cheaper than the ones at Dollar Tree, and I like them better. I like the shape better, and I like that they don't have the hole in case you don't want that hole in there. You don't have to fill it. So I did that dark wax by DIY on there. Just kind of dry brushed it on, and now I'm dry brushing
that Canyon Sunset, just kind of what was left over there on my palette, or my, I got a mess on this board, and then I'm doing another little teeny tiny twine bow. I just dry brushed that Canyon Sunset on there and kind of wiped it with my t-shirt. I love the way this turned out. This was kind of just something I did. It's kind of one of those creative things. How I think this might look good. Let me try it. And now I'm making a garland with this. A banner. Garland, banner. I think it's a banner. It's definitely a banner. So I'm going to drill some holes now with my drill and my drill bit. And I think those holes weren't big enough. I had to go back in and drill bigger holes, but I did not show you that because that would be redundant. So 2 holes on each side of these pumpkins, and 1 on each end of the trucks. This turns out so cute, y'all. You're gonna love it. I just have that piece of wood. You can see all those holes in there. I've just been using it over and over. So now I have my thicker twine and a piece of tape on the end, and I'm just gonna run it through and put it all way down there. So, you know, if I have extra, I can adjust it, but I want to make sure I have enough. Oh, I'm telling y'all, you're gonna love this. So I'm just stringing pumpkin, truck, pumpkin, truck, pumpkin. And so that pumpkin right there in between the trucks is actually the middle of this banner. I don't have a fireplace, I don't have a mantle, so I don't really have anywhere to hang this, but I just hung it on the wall in my craft cottage to take a picture for you guys. I can't wait for you to see it. Now I got this fabric and that orange fabric you just saw at Dollar Tree, and I have it doubled over, and I'm going to cut little 1-inch strips. I'm just going to take my scissors, and every inch, it doesn't have to be perfect, about every inch I'm going to snip, 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 snip. And then once I get it down, I just did 12 inches. So I just did the length of the ruler. And then I just ripped them. And I should have shown you this in like real time because I did it so fast. It was so quick. I also did this with the orange fabric, the exact same procedure. And I didn't show it to you on camera because that would be redundant. So I have a big pile of the orange ones and the checkered ones. And I also did it with that canvas drop cloth that I've had for years that I just keep crafting with. Now I did this slow. I slowed this down. I make a loop. I pull that up through the back because I like the way it looks, almost like a tie. You know, it looks, you can do it the other way and it looks cute too, but this way it has that little knot on the front side. Kind of looks like a man's tie. But I love how this looks. Okay, so I did this in between each pumpkin and truck. So I think I just show you I know I'm not going to show you every time I did that because it's the same. So I'm showing you how you can adjust it to make it however far apart you want them to be. So it slides on there. So the truck and the pumpkins slid a little better than the fabric because I had them on there so tight. I think I actually did loosen it up a little bit and make it a little bit further apart. But anyway, you get the idea. And plus, you may not like yours like that. You may want more fabric in between them. You may want it further apart. You may not want any fabric between. So now I'm just kind of trimming the tails of the fabric, making them, I don't even want them even, but I wanted some of them cut at an angle. I wanted some of them to be longer and shorter. I don't know. There, again, no rhyme or reason. Just decided to cut them, and they were a little bit long. I didn't mind if some of them were longer, but I didn't want them to all be that long. So I finished that and put them in between each one. And now I'm going to make a tassel out of some strips of this canvas drop cloth. I'm going to link one in the description box below, but I've gotten them online and I've gotten them at Home Depot. They're about the same price. I'll see if I can find one that's a good price on Amazon right now. So I just tied a knot up there because that's where we're going to connect it to our banner. And then I'm taking this white twine. You could use burlap twine. Burlap twine if you want, whatever color you want. And I'm just wrapping it around the top a couple times and then tying it in a knot. I'm going to put a little dab of hot glue underneath that because I don't want a big fat knot. So I just want to put a little dab of hot glue under there and then tie it real tight and it'll hold. And then I'm trying to adjust it, and yeah, that glue was hot. It's called hot glue for a reason. Okay. So I didn't want to double knot it because I didn't want a big fat knot back there. I think you understand that. And then just tie it on there. I did one of these on each end. And oh my goodness, tell me if you love this banner. I love this banner. If I had a fireplace, I would want one of these for every season because this is so cute. Yeah, I just trimmed up my little twine. Anywhere there was some of those, you know, rough pieces. Look how cute this is. I got this little sign back in the summer at Dollar Tree. I took that little rubbery kind of sand dollar off there. I tried to take the little nails off. That little rooftop was actually nailed on there. Couldn't get those off there, so I just hammered them in. And you can see I'm hammering on my table, and it's making my camera go crazy. So I was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between that beautiful blue scrapbook paper and then this beautiful, it looks like fall leaves, scrapbook paper. I couldn't decide. I almost wanted to be able to have a poll and see what you guys thought. I wish you could be telling me through the camera. So I just cut both of them and put them on there so I could have a good visual of what it's going to look like. Oh, I was trying to make up my mind. I loved how that copper and that blue looked. And then I switched this and I put it on there. Let's try this one out. And I fell in love with it. So yeah, I was just trying to decide, but I did fall in love with that one. So that was the one I used. Just a regular old glue stick. Lots of it though. Like I use plenty of it, and I've never had a problem with this not sticking or staying. Just rub it in really, really good. Sometimes I'll use my squeegee to smash out that glue really good. I'm just going to hot glue this on. I think it'll stay on good because it's got that paper to adhere to. I don't think that I need to nail it back on. So I'm going to push it out to the edges, and then I'm going to trim that paper off that is overlapping. And then I'm going to just glue this beautiful little pumpkin. I got that pumpkin at Dollar General for $1. I thought it was really good, but I got some leaves too. They had leaves and pumpkins, and they had that little thankful, blessed, grateful, those words on a little wooden tag. I thought that was a great buy for $1. Now I just am going to tie that around the top of the pumpkin and glue it so it dangles where I want it to. I'm going to take this teeny, teeny, tiny little sunflower I got at Dollar Tree, put it right in the center, and call that finished. I think it's a super simple, easy, and cute. So I'm taking the antique wax, and I'm just putting a thin coat on the background part of this, and then I'm going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm putting a pretty thick layer of Mod Podge on the raised parts of this pumpkin. Now I got this little thin wooden pumpkin at Dollar Tree. Now it's dry. My Mod Podge is completely dry, and I'm just ripping up these little pages of an old book that was tattered and worn, and so I'm gonna try to place them on here the best I can and make it look, have them overlap a little bit, but I don't want them to overlap too much, but I do want them to kind of overlap a little bit. So it does take a little bit of time to place them and get them placed how you want them, and I wasn't sure how easy it would be to remove the excess that is hanging over the edge, but it was not hard at all. So I took a little extra time for that wasn't necessary. So I'm just going to now take a piece of parchment paper, lay it on top of my pages, and use my little heat press. You could use an iron, a really hot iron, and it is going to reactivate that glue and cause my pages to stick very, very nicely. I love to use this technique with Mod Podge. I struggled on the struggle bus for years with the rippling and the crinkling that Mod Podge does. So here I'm just taking my X-Acto knife and a little bit of my sanding block around the edges to make them crisp, and it was easy peasy. And now I'm just gonna do it, use my sanding block a little bit around the edges of the wood as well. Now I'm gonna give
the top of my pages a little Mod Podge seal. You could use a polyacrylic over the whole entire thing if you wanted to. I just chose to seal down my pages. I'm just going to use this for indoor use. And then I took some raffia. This was actually those raffia bows that I peeled off of this. You see where that glue is, that I peeled a little raffia bow off. And I've had done several projects with these in the past and saved the bows. And I just undid the bows and made this little raffia, whatever you want to call this, for my background. Then I had gotten these cotton bowls at, pretty sure these came from Dollar Tree. There were several in a package. So I'm going to use one of them as the center of my little, maybe you want to call this a little, I don't know what you want to call this, my little florals, my little swag. I was thinking I was going to make a little swag out of it and then just put it all together. But, you know, I get on the struggle bus when it comes to florals, but in the end they look fine. I just struggle, you know, in the middle part. So I put the cotton in the middle. I put those little mini pomegranates on each side, and then I had those little, you can see up in the upper right and the upper left, those little sprigs of wheat that came from Dollar Tree as well. They were on a long stem, and I had pulled a bunch of them off for a different project. So I'm just gonna put a little glue in there, stick them in the sides, and that's that for this project. I put a hanger on top. I did put a little hanger through that hole on top to hang it by. And I love the way this turned out. Silver Lining by Waverly as my background on this pumpkin, and I'm just cutting up a makeup sponge, and I'm using some Elephant by Waverly with this makeup sponge, and I'm just going to pounce it all over. And as I'm pouncing it all over, I'm going to go back and forth with the Silver Lining, and then I have some metallic, I believe it's by Folk Art as well. You can see it over there on the right. I do the Elephant and the Silver Lining. I just keep pouncing and pouncing, and then I use a little bit of that metallic in there too. Now, I couldn't get up close to those edges with the makeup sponge, so I just kind of dry brushed a little bit of that Elephant up close. You can kind of see. I'm using this old worn out stiff brush to dry brush that with. It's really hard to do a good dry brush with a regular paintbrush. But you can see that I'm just pouncing, pouncing, pouncing. I'm using both colors intermittently. And then I do use that silver metallic in there a little bit. That silver metallic is a little bit translucent, but it does help with that look. Okay, I'm doing the same process that I did with the other one with the Mod Podge, and I'm letting it dry. Now, I'm just going to take a piece of regular printer paper, and I'm laying it on top of there, and I'm pressing down around those raised areas, and you can see that it's making an impression in my paper. So I'm just going to cut around those impressions to get myself a template, because I'm going to cut fabric to put on top of those. So here are my templates, and here is my fabric that I cut out using the template. I didn't figure you needed to see all that. You just lay it down, and I used a Sharpie to trace around it and then cut them out. Same process I did on the last one. I'm now using my iron to reactivate that Mod Podge, and it got this fabric to adhere beautifully. This is a cotton fabric. I didn't have any. I went to Joann's to look for some. They didn't have any, and my sister had it in her stash. My sister has her own little fabric shop. That's her crafting. So, yeah, I can always count on her to have whatever kind of fabric that I might need. So, now I just took this buffalo check ribbon that I have had for several years, and it's on a big old huge spool, and I bought that, I think Hobby Lobby on clearance, on half price or something, I don't know. Anyway, now I'm going to make a tassel. That black ribbon came off of, you know, washcloths or bath towels or a blanket or something, you know, that have those ribbons wrapped around them. Save those, people. They're good. Okay, so now I'm trying to make a tassel. So I just wrapped it around there. You can just see what I'm doing. I don't even have to explain it to you. You're smart people. You can figure it out. So I just am going to hook it into my bow. So the tassel is going to be hanging from the middle of my bow. But I got my knot, that a little bit too tight. So I'm going to loosen it up so I can get this little string behind it.
Come on, Kendra, you can do it. There you go. And so I'm just going to tie that in a little knot. This is the top of my tassel. Hang with me. Hang with me. It's going to be really cute in the end. Okay. And then I just cut all those ends off. Okay. Now we're going to make the top of that little tassel. So just a little bit ways down, I'm going to tie it, wrap it all the way around, and then tie a knot on the back side to hold that in place. So that's that little, you know, part at the top that makes it look like a tassel. Easy peasy. Now, get all the ribbons out of the way. I could have just cut that off. No, I don't know if I need that or not. So anyway, I always do everything the difficult way. Okay, trim off all the little excess pieces. Turn it around. Get us, this is going to be the front side. Go ahead and tie that knot back like I had it. There we go. Cut those pieces off. Now that's just a given, right? Or you can leave them on there if you want it to be a little bit more messy. Okay, so now we've got this loop, and I'm going to mess with it for a while. Okay, we're going to cut those bottom loops to make our tassel. Then I'm just going to make sure that they are all even. See, there's some, it just needs a haircut, which I'm really good at because that's what I do for my day job. Okay, so there we go. Look how cute that little bow with the tassel turned out. Then I decided I needed this little Hello Fall. I wanted to paint it black or white, hoping it would pop off that fabric. And I really liked this black. It's by DIY. It didn't pop very good, so I did some white wax. Oh, not sure why I showed you the picture first. Okay, first I did a clear wax. Not sure how that picture got in there, but anyway, that's how it ends up looking. So I did some clear wax on it, and then I laid it on there, and I decided that it just didn't pop enough. You know, it just didn't. There you go. See? Oh, that was quick. So I just took the white wax and on a dry brush, I played with it till I figured out how much I needed on there, and then I just kind of outlined it. Just wisped it and feathered it in there. Oh, that's not white wax. That's white chalk paint. I apologize for that. The white chalk paint. The white wax tends to blend into the paint a little bit more, and it will actually change the color of the black paint. And I really wanted the black to stay black. And if I used the white wax, it would have made the black a little bit more subdued. And I really wanted that black to be black. Okay, so there we go. See how much better that looks? Which I did the other so fast, you really probably couldn't even see. Then I decided in the middle of that bow, it needed another little piece of fabric on top to cover up all that mess. So that's what I did. Fold it, fold it, fold it, cut my little dovetails, and pinch it up. Put a little piece of ribbon around the middle and stick it in there. Then I put a little hanger on top with that same ribbon that's, you know, we can make it all matchy-matchy because I grew up in the 70s where we did everything matchy-matchy. Okay, glue the Hello Fall on. And it's a done DIY, and I think it turned out great. Thank you, Lisa Marie, for the inspiration. Let me know what you think about this leopard for fall. Let's do this DIY. This one was inspired by the Crafting Cousins, Trish and Kay. They are amazing. Check out their channel. So I have these wire wreath forms. I got at Dollar Tree, so I'm just going to trace it around this burlap. This is a double piece of burlap. I folded it over. You can kind of see the fold down there at the bottom. I folded it over, so I only have to cut once, and they'll both be exactly the same size. So I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm going to cut. I was like, I think I sped this up. I didn't want you to have to watch me cut this whole thing, but I wanted you to see how easy it is to just cut that burlap around the lines. And then I'm going to use some hot glue and my little silicone spatula, and I'm going to hot glue all the way around the edges. It's kind of like as if we were sewing that. Okay, so we're going to hot glue all around the edges. I was trying to decide where I wanted to leave my opening, and I'm going to leave my opening to stuff it at the top because I'm also going to put a stem up there, so I just thought that made more sense, and it really did. Okay, here's a little hack if you don't know it. If you're going to put your glue stick in, heat it up a little bit, and it'll stick to the next one. And yeah, I'm crafting at night, so the bugs are attracted to my light. So I am in the country and my craft cottage is outside. Of course it's outside. Oh boy. Okay, so here we go. All the way around, just tack it down really good with some hot glue. And you know, burlap responds to hot glue really good. Just make sure your edges are together, even. Well, if they're not, you can always go back and trim them. And I did think afterwards it would have been cute to hot glue down about 1/4 of an inch and then fray it a little bit. That would be a cute look too. So I left a little opening at the top. I didn't really show that very good, but I did leave an opening at the top. Now I'm using this, my favorite orange for fall, and it is Tuscan Sunset, I believe it's called. Something, Canyon Sunset. And you can do it as heavy or as light as you want a coat on there. I wanted it pretty thick. And then I'm going to take, this is Chocolate Sprinkle by somebody, and it's a dark brown paint anyway. And I'm just going to make those lines in the pumpkin so that it looks like a pumpkin and not just a big orange blob. So I left my orange paint in my paintbrush over there on the side because I tend to kind of get heavy-handed sometimes. And then you can always just go back and use, excuse me, the other paintbrush kind of as an eraser. So you'll see that I kind of do squeeze a little bit more of my orange paint out there, and I go back around those brown lines to kind of soften it or make them not so wide, or, you know, yeah, do that. So that's a good little trick if you don't know it. Now, I had this branch that I used for another project. Nope, we're going to stuff it first. Let's stuff it. But I do have that branch. This came out of an old pillow that I had on my bed, and I had washed it so many times it just lost its oomph. So I saved it because I thought, oh, I could probably use that stuffing for something that didn't really matter. So this was one of those things. Doesn't really matter what the stuffing's like inside here. So I stuff it with that, and then here's that branch that I cut in half. It was like a little branch, and I cut it in half to use on another project. So this is the other half. So this was a really fun little thing to do. So I'm just going to stuff it in that hole and close it all up. And I'm going to put a little hanger on the back of this because that little branch is a little bit heavy. So I'm going to use it as kind of the hanger. So here's some raffia. And I'm just cutting them kind of all the same length-ish, and as much as I wanted. And I'm going to wrap it around a couple times and then tie it in a knot. I think I actually didn't tie it in a whole knot. I just tied it like that right there. And then I trimmed it up a little bit. And now, this, I love this little thing. I found one when we were out of town. Dollar Tree had these little monogram beaded something or others. But the monogram I couldn't paint over. You would need to fill that in if you were going to paint over it. But I painted over the back instead with this beautiful color that I'm loving for fall as well. And I'm pretty sure I did just one coat. Now I'm going to take some white chalk paint on a skinny paintbrush and just randomly make some little lines. If you wanted to make it look plaid, you could make some of those lines a little wider than others. But I just was trying to make some little, you know, I don't know what I was trying to do. It just, some things just come in my head and it just happens like that. So it doesn't really look plaid, but I just wanted something different there. Did I show you that I put polka dots on the pumpkin? I don't think I even showed you that part. I used a little round dauber that I got at Dollar Tree. I totally didn't have put that footage in here, and just made white polka dots on the pumpkin. I think that was my favorite part of this. The look of this pumpkin was the whimsy of it. So that's the reason that I put those lines on that leaf as well, is because I liked the whimsy of it. So now I just tied a little knot above the beads so that they would kind of stay in place, and then I'm just going to tie it around the top of that stem, or the bottom of the stem, and let it hang. I'm trying to see how, you know, long I want it to hang. But yeah, I did not show you that I put those polka dots on. Silly me. But anyway, I did. I used one of those sponge daubers and put polka dots with white chalk paint. And then so I'm just going to glue this on top of there, and I think this turned out so cute. You'll have to let me know what you think about it. And you can hang it on your door, you can hang it on a wall above a window.
If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. It really helps my channel out. Be sure and give this video a thumbs up. which means YouTube is going to show it to more people. Be sure and leave a comment. Let me know if you saw these DIYs in the original video or if this is your first time seeing it. But most of all, remember to be still and know that He is God.